All right, let's dive right in. We're going to talk about something that so many of us do, over apologizing. But we're going to look at it from a completely different angle. Is it really a flaw, or could it be something way more complex? Seriously, think about it. You're just walking down the street, minding your own business, and someone else plows right into you. And what's the very first word out of your mouth? Oh, sorry. I bet that sounds familiar, right? It's an incredibly common reflex. And it goes way beyond just physical bumps. Sometimes it feels like you're apologizing just for taking up space, for having a different opinion, or even just for existing in a way that might inconvenience somebody else. For a lot of people, it's this deep, almost automatic impulse. And that's really the key, isn't it? It doesn't feel like a choice. It feels like this automatic reaction you can't even control. It's like a switch that gets flipped before your brain has even had a chance to catch up. So the real question is, where does that reflex even come from? Okay, so this is where we're going to completely shift our perspective. What if this reflex isn't some mistake or a flaw in your personality? What if it's actually a highly developed, learned survival skill that you built to navigate your world? This comparison really reframes the whole conversation, doesn't it? We're so often told that saying sorry all the time is a sign of low self-esteem. But what psychology is telling us is that in reality, it's often a functional tool, a skill that was developed for a very specific purpose. And that purpose? It's usually rooted deep in our past. For some, it can be a trauma response, a way to make yourself smaller, less of a target, to feel safer in a threatening environment. Or, and this is a big one, it can come from being the easy child. The one who learned really early on that just keeping the peace and not causing any trouble was the absolute best way to get by. So if we're going to call it a skill, what are the actual parts that make it up? Let's break down the specific traits that are working behind the scenes when that sorry reflex just takes over. And spoiler alert, these aren't weaknesses. They're actually finely tuned social abilities. So at its core, this whole thing is built on three main traits. It starts with a kind of social radar for rejection. Then it's powered by this incredible hyper-awareness of other people's moods. And it's all driving towards one big goal, keeping the peace. First up, we have rejection sensitivity. Now, this is more than just not liking rejection. I mean, who does? This is a much more intense, almost radar-like ability to sense potential rejection, even when it's super subtle. An apology then becomes this preemptive move to just neutralize that threat before it even has a chance to happen. Next, there's this incredible hyper-awareness. You're the person who can walk into a room and just feel the emotional temperature. You pick up on the slightest shift in someone's tone of voice, a tiny change in their body language. You're constantly scanning, processing all this social data to predict how people are going to react. And that brings us to number 3, which is basically the end goal of the first two, prioritizing harmony. Because you can sense potential rejection and you can read all those subtle moods, your primary drive is to de-escalate any hint of conflict. And an apology? Well, that's the fastest, most effective tool you've got to smooth things over and avoid that threat. So when you put all of these pieces together, you get this radical new picture. This has nothing to do with weakness. It's a powerful reframe. Your reflex is actually a sign of your highly tuned awareness. Let's just sit with this for a second. Your constant apologies aren't a sign of weakness. They are a learned survival mechanism to keep your environment peaceful. It's not a bug, it's a feature you designed for your own survival, to create peace where maybe there wasn't any. It's really a sophisticated toolkit for navigating the social world. You learned how to read people, how to anticipate what they needed, and how to de-escalate tension, all to keep yourself safe and to keep your world stable. So what you may have always thought of as a character flaw is actually a sign of your incredible ability to adapt. So we'll end on this thought. The next time you feel that impulse to say sorry just pop up, maybe you can take a second and just acknowledge the incredible skill that's actually behind it. What if your sorry reflex is less about something you did wrong and so much more about your powerful, finely tuned awareness of the entire world and all the people in it?